What's up, everybody? Charlie Marlow here. Recently, a bunch of the old Hot Take Central crew, myself, Cam Janssen, Jimmy the Cat Hayes, Matt Whitener, we got together at Adventure Unknown out there in Fenton, and Punchline Productions shot this video. We talked a little Cardinal baseball. I know you guys are all missing Hot Take Central. The boys got back together to talk a little Redbirds. Here it is.
We know the year was...
I don't know what's going on with Bellis.
Okay, we're separate entities, I guess. It's all connected, but what's your mindset right now with this organization? We've heard so many people discuss it on Twitter, and people are complaining about this. Like, where are you at with everything?
All right, so I'll be honest. I think the Cardinals should have done a bigger mea culpa with their postseason news conference. They did some of that, and they did lay out a plan, which I understand. But let's be honest, you can't battle the fans because they're your customers, and the fans are always right. Be with the fans. If it didn't go according to plan, let them know it over and over again and say, look, we have a plan where we think is going to get us to a better place. I do think that their biggest problem, aside from not winning games, was they weren't developing pitchers, right? So now they have a plan to develop pitchers. I think Chaim Bloom is a fresh face, and he'll have a bigger role coming next year. Meantime, behind the scenes, he'll be trying to change everything about player development. And the sad thing is, I think we're going to see guys who I like, who underperformed this year, probably gone. Like Goldie, I have a feeling Arenado's gone. I think we're going to see sort of a youth movement. To me, the tricky part is, and I'll pass the ball off, is that I think that the Cardinals have talent, even without those guys at the corner. When I look at Blaine, okay, their starting pitching was middle of the road, not good, not terrible. Bullpen was great. I thought they'd win 6-4, but because their offense was so bad, why was it so bad? Well, your guys at the corners didn't perform like they're used to, like their baseball cards say, and then guys like Gorman and Walker didn't do it either. Okay, so now they're not good offensively. So now you have to figure out what we saw from Gorman last year. Is that a fluke? Is Walker going to get it back? Those are two big pieces, and you still don't really know what you have. So there are some concerns going forward.
So when your prospects don't deliver, when your high-priced veterans don't deliver, and then everybody else is just kind of there to play their role, it doesn't work out. That's what last season ended up being. You just ended up just drifting down the river, and it didn't go anywhere. And it wasn't as just downtrodden as the year before, but you knew at that point, you knew it was over. Like by the time September, August came around, there wasn't any hope. There wasn't picking people up at the deadline to try to make moves, to try to do this. It was just over with, and you just made your peace with it. I think the hard part about last week's news conference is, really, it just kind of said, yeah, it's gonna be a little worse next year because we got to get money back on track, and there's not gonna be a lot of ads, and some of the guys you just brought in, they might be gone. I came away from the news conference like, oh my God, did we run this by a PR? Is there any spin? Like this?
Kind
the
of
only
depressed.
thing you had to do was you need to still at least try to sell tickets. But I guess you got mad in years past though, because it was like, don't distract me with your bobbleheads and your promos and say that we're going to get better if we're not going to invest in the team really. But now you've just said outright, not only are we not going to invest, we're going to divest too, and that's hard to deal with. So
There was a little spin because when I asked Mo about rebuild, Cardinal fans just don't see rebuilds. How difficult is that?
He said, that's not my problem.
No, you know what he said? He said, we prefer resetting, not rebuilding. That's a bit of a spin. But here's the thing that watching playoff baseball now, there's some really good teams, and there's also some teams in there that you're like, okay, pitching's key. You got to get better pitching. Yeah. But maybe they can be competitive. Maybe they could. It doesn't seem that way. But the way baseball is now, I'm not so sure because they were not good for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So maybe if the young guys start hitting, maybe they could be at least where they were. I don't know.
I think they can be.
I don't think
83 wins. These position players.
Yeah.
Couple pitchers step up. I think they're going to be better than people think next year.
You sound like a rights holder. Right?
No,
He does, doesn't he? He does, doesn't he?
No, but I'm okay even with it's a rebuild at the minor league level. it is kind of a reset at the big league level. And by the way,
Retool?
whatever. But I mean, there's a lot of good position players. They just need to perform.
So the question is,
Why?
When you look at like I've been in on Mason Wynn forever. Same thing with Burleson, who did have a rough
Good stock.
second half.
Two good stocks right there.
Those are two good pieces. But the main pieces to me were outside of them, Walker and Gorman. And I don't think we know what they are. I mean, we've seen them be great, and I think that's possible to happen again. You just don't know.
The thing that I laughed at the press conference was, and this is where I agree with Jim in the sense of just admit you screwed up.
That's it.
Just admit it. And
Big deal.
when you say you need an entire revamp, we just keep using these rewords, of the entire personnel department.
Rewind. It's a
Rewind.
repair
But that tells you right there that things were not going well. When Mo said something along the lines of, it's not that we were doing things wrong, it's just things have changed. It's like, no, that means you're doing things wrong, right? Just admit it. Like, you were doing things wrong. You wouldn't say we need to have Heimblum come in and totally implode the entire minor league organization, player development system if things were okay. So just say that. You don't have to, it's not that. And then even Bill DeWitt Jr. said something like, what did he say about next year? There's a lot of things to be excited about. Well, it's okay. I mean, that you're doing a little bit of promotional work there. I get it. But like, just flat out tell the fans, hey, we screwed up. We're sorry. We're going to be better.
We'll be better.
Let's go.
I would like to know what the things are to be excited
Mason
about.
Wynn.
That's the okay. we
Alec
got that.
Burleson.
New
We got
bar,
that.
Donovan.
Bar?
McGreevy.
Is a new bar
McGreevy?
exciting anymore? Like,
Yeah, when he's on the field, he's good.
I mean-
Donovan's good. Those guys are good.
How many guys are gone off this roster? That's the part that came away from me is how many guys, what's the team going to look like? It's almost impossible for me to have any real thought about it right now because I'm like, what's the team going to look like?
Goldie's gone.
Well, yeah, he's gone.
Goldie's-
They've made that clear, but it seemed
I have a
like
feeling-
everybody was up.
I have a feeling Arenado, I think they would like to trade Helsley, which I understand why. I just think sometimes closers are so important that people say they're unimportant. Because if you look, they have other guys they think can close, but you're never going to get that elite level. A lot of people disagree with me. If you're not sure you're in the postseason, you don't need a closer. I'd like to see Helsley stay. First of all, it's fun watching him pitch. But they're probably going to look at a guy like Liberatore as a guy who could close if they decide to trade Helsley, because you'll have a little control with Helsley, and he may be the best closer in baseball.
He's got 2 more years left, I think.
I think 2
One.
years, one year of control. So I mean, but that's a bargain, if you don't have to give up the ranch for him. I think maybe they look at JoJo as someone who could close games.
my boy right there.
The part that really surprised me that came up was the Sonny Gray floating, saying, might not have got what you needed there. I look at the numbers and I'm like, well, I mean, considering where things were at 2 years ago, when there was absolutely nobody in the rotation doing anything, and we were spinning bets about Adam Wainwright getting one more win or not, and going through the painstaking effort that was, you're gonna let Sonny Gray go too? I mean, he's owed a lot of money. He's going up $10 million extra next year compared to what he was owed this year.
I think it's $62.5 million is still left for the 2 years plus the option.
So you're going to have to find the right team to be able to take on a Same thing with Arenado. Like, not every team could say, oh, we'd like to take a shot at Nolan Arenado.
Well, the
Except his goes down though.
Well, yeah.
That's the good part about
still
his.
a lot of money left.
No, I know, but I didn't look at this till the other day. I was thinking, okay, Arenado, $35 million. It's like 32, 27, 15. So it's like $74 million over 3 years, that's a lot better than $35 million a year.
Because you got that $50 million rebate.
And by the way-
when he came over,
And by the way, sorry, Rockies pay $5 million each of the first 2 years.
that ain't bad.
You think he's going to bounce back, regardless of where he is? They ran a graphic in the postseason, one of the postseason games, about guys who lead the major leagues in homers over the last 5, 6 years. Arenado was like near the top of the list. Not the guy we saw last.
How many of those years over the 5 or 6 were in Colorado?
Probably the bulk.
So, I mean, when you look at what you're getting, unless you're trading him back to Colorado, are you getting that same guy when you send him elsewhere?
He's still a guy that I think, regardless of where he's playing, is going to get you 27, 30 homers. If that pull power is there, he just became a different looking hitter.
My thought is that if you're going to get rid of any big contract that you're going to float out there that doesn't necessarily fit into what they're trying to do here. And I'll be the first to say I'm not 100% clear on what the goal is for the team, other than to say we're going to trade guys, they're going to get prospects so that you can get back to being relevant sooner than later, because doing it through the draft is going to take too long. That's what I hope the message is. What about Wilson Contreras? I mean, do you need a catcher that's that price, that you probably need to be switching to first base if that's going to be the case, but you've got Burleson who probably makes sense there. You don't
And
want to
Herrera.
money. Yes, I mean, and that's a guy that fits into it. So
That's how you know Goldie's gone. There's
you
just
gotta,
no.
I'm done with that part. I know he's gone, but I would rather see a Contreras move than a Arenado move at this point, because number one, I think it's easier to do so. People will take that offense in that spot, and somebody might take him as a first baseman. It just doesn't seem to be a fit here, and it seems to be a luxury to have a catcher that's hitting. If you have Herrera, if you have Pagas, you've got all the people that are there that contributed that way. I don't know. If you're going to take the team apart, though, don't half-step. Don't keep a couple of guys. Do the whole thing. Do like the Blues did a few years.
He's one of their dependent. He'll give you production.
Do you want it, though, the way they're going right now?
When he's on the field. By the way, let's be honest. There's no way in hell Nolan Arenado wants to be here next year.
No.
Let's just start with that. There is no way on God's green earth
Best fans of baseball?
that he wants to be around.
He told
anymore.
me he did.
There's just no chance. By the way, the fact that he opted in and cost himself like $70 million and then stuck around for 2 crap years, like, God bless him.
Yeah.
But that was a horrible
He'll be
mistake.
okay.
No, I'm not feeling sorry for him, but I'm just telling you, there's no way on earth Nolan Arenado wants to stick around. There's just no way.
And we kind of glossed over that Ollie's back.
Ollie's back. I'm fine with that.
I am too,
Yeah,
because look, you can criticize every manager.
Ollie's kind of back like Joe Biden's back, though. He's just kind of here still. We're going to run it out.
Well, no,
Joe Biden's
because
back?
Joe Biden is not going to be the president
He's
next
still
year.
walking on the beach.
He's
and
still in the seat now.
Ollie will be the manager next year.
Ollie inherited some bad rosters. I don't think. Now, look, you can say a manager is responsible for what happens on the field, and I get that too. But even if you look at the analytics of most Major League Baseball teams, they will say your manager can swing 3 to 4% the outcome in either direction.
Okay.
So if that's the case, a manager is responsible for 7-8% of what goes on the field. With his decisions, maybe the blame lies elsewhere. So I'm glad he's getting another shot.
I'm indifferent about. I mean, he's here. We got a manager. Click that off the list.
We did it.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If they won, and the fact that Ollie didn't have the uniform on and wears his hat backwards and stuff, and argues with umpires for any reason, don't you think fans would love him if they were winning?
Yes.
Yes.
He
The
checks all the boxes for beloved intangible.
He
Cardinals,
does have
other than
odd.
winning.
He does have an odd post game at times too, where he'll kind of.
Except for pigment.
But that's because he's losing.
He is not
They're
a scrappy
mostly
white guy.
losses.
That's true.
Yep. I know. I'm
He's
just
a little
throwing it out.
condescending, but again, we don't focus on condescending if they're winning.
Yeah.
We only focus on condescending in post-game press conferences when that's the only interesting thing going on.
I mean, we had a manager who won, Tony La Russa, who had one guy that would ask this. He was the first question guy, Calvin, and he would say, even if they lost 10-1, nice RBI in the second, Tony, and Tony would say, it's good to have a good question.
That was cute. And also, Tony,
May.
but Tony could also be condescending. You can be condescending once you win 2 or 3 World Series. It's just the way it is. Like Ollie, if he had 2 World Series, nobody would say anything.
I agree.
As always, I want to thank my sponsors, Triad Bank, triadbanking.com. Best thing I ever did for my rental property business, taking all my commercial loans from a big national bank that didn't care about me with poor customer service over to a local bank right there in Frontenac, Triad Bank. They have the best customer service. My guy, Matthew Tobin, been working with him for about 5 years or so. They've been a sponsor for 3-4 years. Triad Bank is fantastic. St. Louis Lawn Care for your lawn care needs, your mulch, aeration, mosquito and bug control, and all that. Plus, St. Louis Equipment, stlmowerrepair.com. Buy a lawnmower, get your lawnmower fixed. Small engine machines. I have a Crest battery-operated trimmer I got there. I have a Husqvarna blower. That's the fuel, the gas oil mix. Everything is great at STL Equipment, stlmowerrepair.com. And of course, Corner Butcher and Chop House. I was just there last week. They're in the same building now. right across the street from the old corner butcher there in Fenton. So we're talking Fenton, Valley Park area. It's 1005 Majestic Drive. You have Chop House and Corner Butcher in the same spot now. And then, of course, Corner Butcher West is still out there in Ellisville. You got to check it out. Thanks again, Corner Butcher, St. Louis Equipment, St. Louis Lawn Care, and Triad Bank. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that reunion from the old Hot Take Central gang. See ya.